Greetings, citizens, and thanks for joining me here today at Smash and Crash for this quick look at the Avengers series, the Titan, the Stalker, and the Warlock. Starting off with the Warlock here, one thing you're going to see about the ships is aesthetically they're all basically the same. The loadouts are very similar as well. You have the Tiger Strike cannon mounted to the nose. They're permanently mounted there. It's a gimbal mount, so they move, but you can't actually remove them and use them on any other ships just yet, and you can't use any other mounts there either. You have one gun under each wing. Two of the ships have the Sucker Punch distortion cannons, and two of them have repeaters. They all also have 4 Marksman 1 missiles. Here's the power plants and a peek at the weapons on the other side. With offense, defense, and maneuverability all being basically the same between these three ships, let's go take a look at the special feature that makes them very, very different. In this case, the Warlock EMP. At the moment, all you can do back here is look around, but presumably in the future, you may have to get back in here to make repairs, replace fuses, upgrade, or even replace the EMP. Who knows? Now let's jump in the cockpit and see what it looks like. There's still a couple visual glitches like the hands when you're getting in and out of some of the cockpits, but overall this is honestly looking really beautiful. That's enough looking around an inactive cockpit. We're going to do one quick buzz around the ship, then move on to check out the Titan and the Stalker. The second in this trio is the Titan. The Titan has some very similar features, like everything, to the other two ships, including the Tiger Strike Gatling gun up front, and the 4 missiles mounted to each of the wings. The one major difference here is each wing, instead of having the Sucker Punch distortion cannons, now have Bulldog repeaters. The hard points on all the Avengers currently match up. They have mostly the same bits and pieces, but again, once these are finalized, you may see different coolers or different power plants, but the main difference is still in the tail end. In the Titan, you actually have to go in through the back of the ship, through the cargo area, which you can't do a whole lot with right now, but again, in the future, you can also go through the small door and the ladder right here to get into kind of a, I guess, crew compartment. There's a bed in here, not a whole lot else, and to get to the cockpit. Kudos to the Cloud Imperium team for making these animations even faster and smoother than they used to be. They've always looked neat, but now they're so much more functional. Now into the cockpit here. Occasionally some of these things are a little bit touchy, so you want to make sure that you're in the right position to make sure you're opening the door that you want to and you're not just jumping like back into the bed. Again, aesthetically, all these look very, very similar, so let's just jump right into the Avengers Stalker variant. Third time's the charm. The Stalker has that Tiger Strike Gatling gun mounted up front, 2 Sucker Punch distortion cannons, and 4 Marksman 1 missiles. In the Stalker variant, the cargo hold has now been converted into prison cells, so if you're out for manhunting, this is the ship for you. I'm not positive why I felt the compulsion to open all of them, but I did. So instead of editing this out, I left in this little bug that you'll encounter in some of the Avengers. And some of the ships, when you're trying to like crawl up into them or change levels, occasionally your head will poke right through the top. Sometimes you'll even pop right out. They are working hard on fixing this, and it's gotten much better than it used to be. And the bed again for people that you don't want to lock into a cell. This completes the walking portion of our tour. Let's go have a look at the speed, some of the combat, and some of the weapons. Starting off with the Stalker, let's have a look at the speeds. They all have very similar speeds, but the Stalker starts out at space combat mode 230 meters a second, then it boosts up to a respectable 330, and its cruise maximum speed is 645 meters per second, so it's no slouch. The Titan's actually just a smidge faster, at 240 meters per second in space combat mode, boosting up to 340 and cruising at 655. Last and a little surprisingly least is the Warlock. It tops out at 225 meters per second in space combat, it boosts up to 325, and it tops out in cruise at 620 meters per second. Time for some combat. Since the Warlock and the Stalker both have the same loadouts, I'm going to go ahead and use the Warlock and the Titan just to give a demonstration of the weapons. The Stalker and the Warlock, aside from the speed differences, are very similar in combat, but I'd like you to see the EMP. First you have to charge the EMP, so just fire that weapon group, then fire it again to use it when it hits 100%. The EMP temporarily disables any ship within its blast radius. It is short range, so you need to be in close. It's better when you're attacking big ships, but I just found out here actually that it can impact ships that are parked as well, and it packs a little bit of a kick. So make sure that your engines and stuff are turned off, otherwise you'll just go floating aimlessly into space, and be careful when around other parked ships that you don't want to damage. I am now disabled and will be back in a moment here, but just so everybody knows, yes, I did go get that Cutlass Black back. I EVA'd out and brought it back and parked it because I'm not a total jerk, and I honestly didn't mean to launch it out into space. The EMP is much better suited for group attacks, teaming up with people. You disable someone and then your team can attack, because as you can see, it takes a long time to recover. That amount of time is when your opponents recover too, so it's almost a waste, except for it does set them a bit off kilter from what they were doing during their attack. Only if you hit them, otherwise you're just a wobbly target. Charging into a pack of enemies is not usually wise, but I figured I'd give it a shot here. So what I'm going to try and do is disable all these glaive and scythe and make sure that my backup can help take care of them. And boom! There it goes. Now you can see they're kind of drifting a little more than they were. They don't have quite the same trajectory. They were disabled. It's just really hard to see it from that particular perspective. Now let's go blow one up and move on to the Titan. Just to be clear, those ships have recovered by the time I could even get anywhere near them to shoot them. This is a great purpose-built weapon. It's very tactical, not so great for just plain old dogfighting. The Avengers handle beautifully and can even kind of dance around your opponents. Now granted, the Scythe and Arena Commander aren't the best examples of this, but this is a good place to show you how easy it is to use those repeaters on the Titan to help zero in your shot until you have your opponent dead to rights and can shred them with a combination of your Tiger Strike and your repeaters.
Shields recharging.
Whether you're playing cops and robbers and catching the bad guys, or you're hauling some cargo, or you're just trying to be a tactical asset on a group attack on something much bigger than yourself, this is the way to go. The Avengers series have an option for all of those. They're a great all-round ship. They've got room in most of them to carry somebody else with you. If somebody wants to sit with the EMP, even the Warlock does. Thanks again for joining me here today at Smash and Crash for this quick look at the versatile and deadly Avengers series. If you like what you saw, please share and subscribe. If you didn't like what you saw, email me, comment, let me know what you'd like to see. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the verse. Ah, dang it.